We got a special new segment for you folks tonight. We've got something that addresses what Hollow Moon was saying, what Steffi Puff was saying. Everyone's been having disturbing dreams in the last couple of weeks. And it's time. You aren't in the dark. Please welcome Jung and the Restless. Dare to dream. That's right, folks. We want you to call in and tell us what your dream is, and I will analyze it, drawing on the soul energy of Carl Jung. That's right, you can call that number right up there. Call that number right now. Write it down. The graphic's going over it. Write it down, and that's it. Okay. Jung and the Restless has begun. Who's got a dream they need analyzed right now over some cheesy, deliciously sassy beats? It'll make anything seem like this investigative team is Miami Vice. Can you imagine if Carl Jung was in Miami Vice? What would he wear? What would he say about the colors of his clothes? Alright, we got a caller right now. Looks like Virginia. Not the name, the state. Caller, you're on the air for Jung and the Restless.
Why, hello. Thank you for taking my call, Tollzar.
Oh, you're welcome. How are you doing?
Oh, well, I've been also just laboring over the events that have been transpiring.
Yeah, of course you have. We all have been feeling them in whatever ways MSNBC tells us.
That's really the main line to my emotions.
Yes, I know. It's almost like I have one of those avatar braids to CNN, which is why Jeff Bezos is growing on me, if you know what I mean. Anyway.
Yes, in a literal sense.
Yes, he's growing all over my eyeballs and my ethereal being. But you know what? We're gonna shake that off right now, like a mink coat that's out of style. Alright. So, caller, is there a name I can call you by right now?
Oh, let's see. Well, let's just be anonymous for now, but just know that you have a Freud in me.
You have a Freud? Oh, I like that one. That's good. Did you catch that one, Wes? How about you, Justin? They're nodding their heads constantly anyway. It's such a cover-up. Alright. Well, I'll tell you what. We're not getting any younger by waiting. Alright. So why don't you tell me your dream right now, caller?
Alright. I'll just go in for it. I transcribed this dream straight from my mind onto a paper. So I'm just going to read it if that works for you.
I think that's amazing. You will be the first one that's ever read anything online. Let's go.
Alright. So, it began with two friends whispering in front of me about an activity that they were going to do in the future, but they didn't want to include me in. I took that as a hint and I left. I then was walking down the street, in and out of bars, by tables, moving through so many people. I came out onto a street again, and then there was a parade. I followed the parade alone, which was playing pretty funky, neat music. And at first I was wishing I could share the experience with friends. But then I realized I was distracted from the moment by my wistfulness. So I decided to watch it alone. I followed the parade around a corner, and there were two groupings of string instruments playing beautiful music. The music is faint, so I decided to get closer. I sit on the ground in front of a stranger, and he took this as an opportunity to grab my shoulders and try to rub them. I hit him off, but he continued. I got up and ran away with the help of another woman who is wearing a teacher's badge. I tried to protect and cover my face so he cannot find out who I am.
Is that the whole dream?
End scene. Yeah,
wow.
End scene.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for sharing such an intimate dream. And Anonymous, a name chosen which I hope the federal government, with its new Patriot Act 2.0 that's about to go into place, doesn't retroactively watch this Twitch episode and put Tollzar on their no-fly list. Anyway, I had to get that out. So a couple things stuck out to me within that dream. First of all, caller, everything seems to have a social element to it, does it not? First of all, the friends in the beginning that said that they had plans in the future that you weren't included in. And the first time that your dream involved one-on-one interpersonal relationship and connection was something gross, hands on shoulders, and, more importantly, a stranger. Here, I think the subconscious is saying, with the new change in social dynamics, within the matrix of how you perceive who it is that is your kindred spirit, very akin to Aquarian energy, you are reconstellating, if you don't mind me saying. Your mind is trying to figure out, are you still going to find the same kind of intimate one-on-one relationships with your friends that you've had in the past? Or do you need something that grows out of your understanding of what the delusion of crowds is creating right now? I think, caller, Anonymous, there is a method of differentiation that's happening right now. You have to figure out, like you made your way through those bar tables and crowds in to watch a parade in solitude, only to find someone else in solitude did not reach you in the way that was good for your heart. You have to figure out, how am I going to relate to crowds? How am I going to relate to individuals when the world, quote unquote, opens up again? I think right now, it's important to figure out where your boundaries are, right? Where it is that your heart is yearning for, and what it is that you're doing ultimately as an individual. And here's the kicker. If you focus, despite that whole dream being about other people, individual or in crowds, if you focus on yourself, on your individual trajectory, on your individual star, and where you're headed to, then you're gonna figure out, brand new, in this new day and age, who your kindred spirits are. It may change what your plans are with your friends. It's going to create boundaries you don't currently have. And by golly, groups of people and humanity as a whole will have a different tinge to it. You will be the leader of that parade in your own right. So may I suggest, caller, above all, this is a time to be focusing on yourself, not the boundaries of necessarily other people approaching, but what are the limits to yourself? What kind of trajectory within all this limitation and restriction and Saturn energy? What is the trajectory of your individuality? Where are you headed? And when you figure that out, your friends might be reconstellating. Thoughts on that?
I think that's spot on, actually. This past 2020, that was my number one 2020 objective was to understand boundaries as someone who suffers from codependency, but has been dealing with that a lot.
That's totally understandable, caller. Anonymous. And I thank you for sharing that as well, as I know how intimate and important that information is. And I'm telling you, maybe your boundary is defined from within the parameters. If one builds a fortress to protect themselves, where are you building the moat? And how can you push the boundaries from within through exploration of your own individuality? You know what? There's an old saying, let love go and see if it comes back to you. Well, this is kind of like, let those relationships you know of go, and then when you discover a greater process of your own individuation in these times that call for it, I bet you the kindred spirits that are in your life now, they will come back in a way that are more akin to how you're defining your own boundaries from within. I didn't mean that to rhyme, but this is getting sassy back here. I know you can't hear it.
I can't. It's just, that's really the only downside of receiving this high quality introspective advice.
Yeah, I think you're a potent individual in the making, and that your eye is exactly where it needs to be, not only because you're listening to your dreams, but they mean something to you, and you're listening to the effect your dreams have, and your subconscious is right on par with what you set your goals with. That's a good sign. How do you feel about that, Anonymous?
I think that's exactly right. I just wanted to say another element from the dream that stuck out to me was that the person who did help me was a stranger who saw that I was in need, a different stranger. And I just want to say that one thing I found this year is that I found a lot of beautiful friendship through solidarity and through working with people to organize. And that's where I've found kinship so far. So it seems like that's where the path is going.
Ooh, I love that. I think you're right on target. The parade, interesting. A bunch of people in a linear momentum and direction. An organized event in which groups of people come together for a similar cause. And now that you mention it, that stranger, kind of without asking, assumed that a level of intimacy with you was appropriate. Now, I would never condone behavior that in one way or another violated boundaries or borders, but I have to say, maybe it is you will surprise yourself what's going to come out of this next year, and that you will find that those who approach you on a one-on-one individual level will be helping you understand exactly where you are by putting their hands on your shoulders. That's a gesture that is not only to calm, but to control. It's a way of someone feeling out where you are. So, it might be that people that you wouldn't even imagine right now will come into your life in order to not only give you juxtaposition of where you are, but to challenge you of where it is that you are going, where you need to be. And there might be some kinship in looking at how other people are organizing in groups. So, even dare I say, you might be part of a group with somebody, and somebody within that group, you create an objective, collectively objective viewpoint of the group, which helps your development, meaning you both can comment on the parade together. What do you think about that?
I think, yet again, Tollzar, you hit the nail on the head.
That's right, because the universe has handed me a hammer, not a bank account, unfortunately, but I'm going to do the best I can with this hammer to hit the nail on the head and speak better. Anyway, Anonymous.
I'm going to do...
Yes, what were you saying?
I'm going to do the best I can to continue spreading the good word, which is Tollzar. The good sass.
The good sass. I love that. I love that. Amazing. Well, Anonymous, it's been a pleasure. And now we're gonna sass it up here, and I suggest you get back to your device that's streaming this and get the sass in your ears too. Thank you so much for calling and being the first caller for Jung and the Restless.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.